Recently, I was inspired by a documentary called The Manitoba Connection. It told the story of a mid-2000s Winnipeg music scene. The documentary's timeline ended in 2007, and just as that story was ending, another was just beginning. A young band was writing new songs in the summer of 2007, aiming to have a great 2008.
How much does it take? What's your breaking point? Can you tell it's fake? The actors in our play, scripted for deception, to be read aloud.
Yeah!
Wait, this is the band we've been waiting for, right?
How much does it take? What's your breaking point? Can you tell it's fake? The actors in our play, scripted for deception, with our
You did it again, Jason.
Lights good?
You guys are that good?
The drummer.
Your place?
Nope.
Who's the homeowner?
Not currently here.
Yeah, well, tolerance great, but if they call, you get the ticket.
Right. So you're
So-
yes.
You're okay with a $700 ticket?
700. That was 70.
Have a little.
What, if we play before 11, is that all right?
No, that's not a rule.
Oh, okay.
That's a myth. I don't know where it came
Right.
from, but it's.
Yeah, I knew that wasn't.
These guys might be okay with it.
Well, the sound's
Live
going
next
that
door.
way, so it's just going straight that way.
You don't understand the
goes
principle
always.
of sound
It
very
goes
well, do you?
always.
No, I'm really, yeah, I'm just
Okay.
putting my foot
Can
in
bounce over.
Ah, yes, 2008. Not exactly the most amazing year in history. In fact, looking back through a Google search, I was hard-pressed to find any major significant news generated that year, at least in relation to advancements in human history in general. But there were a few key moments.
11 p.m. on the East Coast. We're back on the air, and we have news. There will be young children in the White House for the first time since the Kennedy generation.
Red stage
We have
one.
liftoff indication. We have liftoff.
People were obsessed with poking each other on Facebook. The Sex and the City movie was released. Spotify is launched in Sweden. And the year's biggest commercial hit songs were What a year. Okay, I'm just kidding. But behind all these major newsworthy events, a burgeoning young band from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, was sitting on what would become the greatest hit that no one has ever heard. And this is the story of Citizen's Arrest.
It's Jimmy right there.
Yes, I'm your host for today, Jimmy V. I think this mic is too loud. That's not part of my name, I'm just saying it.
Jimmy V is the last name.
So I got a couple questions for you guys. How did you guys get started in music? I'll start, I'll let whoever feels like, while AJ opens his beer on my crotch, which he did.
Thanks.
Okay, I'll hand this off. Who wants to take this question? How did you guys get started in music?
I'll take this one. Well, the band itself was formed by two guys named Ryan and Brent. As you can tell from our games, none of those are there. They called me and Jason was like, we won.
No, it was 2 days ago.
It was 2 days ago. We won the semifinals, and now we're in the finals. The worst we can finish is third out of 36 bands in this Battle of the Bands thing. A couple weeks ago, my sister told me I never wrote a good song in my entire life, and everything I wrote is shitty. Well, I don't know. We're in the finals, man. I don't think it could be that bad.
Can't be that bad, right?
Our story begins in the spring of 2007. Two friends decided that they wanted to start a band. Ryan had already found a vocalist through his brother, and he was looking to start an old school punk band a la Dead Kennedys style. The two musicians then put out an ad on a local musician classified website called Bytes for You, or also known as the Winnipeg Musicians Network. The final piece was added when the drummer's brother decided to play bass. And although they originally wanted to sound like an old school punk band, the sound quickly transformed to reflect the current Winnipeg music scene. After the first 3 songs were wrote, it became clear that the vocalist did not suit the band, and a quest for a new voice began. In came Johnny Wilson, and with that, a new sound influence, hardcore. This influence had an immediate impact, as the very next song the band wrote became the only one they would be remembered for.
Stage, MA6. At the zoo, Johnny Wilson, Jason Garrett. Let's see if we get me. And this is the stage area. That's all there is to it. Apparently the other band, there's 4 bands on the bill, but tonight there's only 3 because the other band, their other guitar player didn't show up. Our other guitar player hasn't shown up in like 2 months, so we might have to cancel our part of the show.
Are you excited?
Yeah, of course. MA6 about to deliver here. We're about to deliver MA6.
Monday at 6 changed their name to MA6 and joined the Winnipeg music scene on November 1st, 2007 in a Battle of the Band competition called BandQuest, hosted by local radio station Freak 107 and the Osborne Village Inn. The band made it to the finals and finished 3rd. From there, they began to break out, playing in notable Winnipeg venues. One such show was at Dylan O'Connor's, where they accepted a last-minute gig to open for a touring act, as well as a local heavy hitter.
Now, back to the Buzz. Here's Gordo.
Welcome back to the Buzz, brought to you by The Cutting Edge, Total Yard Care and Property Maintenance. Calls 831-1369. On the show today, Gordo's Garage, of course, we have Dia Delore in the studio. The entire band is here, so it's first time on the Buzz tonight, so welcome. Did you get the gift basket? First time bands,
There was ketchup in the lobby, that's good.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
And I had a chance to see you guys play last week at Dylan's, and you're back there for a show coming up. It's a Buzz showcase coming up next week. Dia Delore, Wednesday, March the 12th at Dylan O'Connor's. That's 1875 Pemina. And Laura, you were just telling me you're going to have a band play with you guys. What's the name of the band?
Called MA6 that'll be playing along with us.
What's their story?
Oh, I don't know. I went to high school with a couple of those.
MA6.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's next week, so we have tickets to give away, and you've also brought some swag with you, too, so...
The band also took their show on the road, heading out west to Brandon to play a televised gig that was part of Brandon's X-Fest production.
Okay, it's an old cliche, but you guys ready to rock?
Yeah!
Yay! All right, week number 1 of the X-Fest Rocks Challenge. We got our first band on stage for tonight. They're out of Winnipeg, Manitoba. We got AJ on Gina on guitar.
Yeah!
We have Jason Anselin on the drums. He's fan wanted. We have Garrett Anselin on bass.
Yeah!
We got Johnny Wilson here on vocals. And I need to find this guy. Where the hell is Jimmy Varga?
I'm here.
Jimmy's the #1 fan, apparently.
Woo! I love MA6!
Oh, by the way. All right, so let's get a great big loud Clancy's welcome for our very first band, week number 1 of the X-Fest Rocks. Ladies and gentlemen, MA6!
Feeling like they were on a roll, but needing something to give their fans, they realized recording was the natural next step. On June 15th, 2008, the band had a one-day studio session booked at 441 Studios with Jared Weiss of local band Portamoral doing all the studio work's heavy lifting. The session started with drums, guitar, bass, and finally vocals. The elongated vocals just before the final chorus were not originally a part of the song. Johnny had recorded a few takes in that measure, and he was getting frustrated. When he let out that long arrest, everyone in the control room knew he had struck gold. I think all his pent-up frustration came out in that take, and it then led to the song's only expletive word. I also remember the vocal booth was tiny, and we decided we needed to do some gang vocals. At one point, we had 5 guys crammed in there, and someone let one rip. Needless to say, we didn't do many gang vocal takes. After the initial recording was done, we packed up our things, and Jared got to work on the mixing and mastering. We got the first cut about 2 days later, and within the week we had the final version. Now, with their hit single in hand, the band wanted to share it with the world. Of course, back in 2008, getting your single out to the masses was a much bigger feat than today. The big player at the time was MySpace, but in terms of other sources, the well was pretty dry. You had to be on a label of some sort just to get consideration. MA6 made a pitch to a few small-time labels, but never made traction. Their goal in all that was to attract the attention of Small Man Records, which they did. But at the time, Small Man was not interested in taking on new artists, and eventually closed down operations a few years later. Then came radio. As a previous sponsor in the first battle of the bands, Freak 107 gave the single a spin. But the first spin on the airwaves was courtesy of Johnny Wilson himself on his radio show on CKUW, the University of Winnipeg campus radio station. Thus, after a few months of pitching the song and not many plays, it was put on the shelf, never to resurface again. The story of MA6 continued on only for a short while. They continued to play in the Winnipeg music scene until an abrupt ending on August 26, 2008, where they played their final show in the finals of yet another Battle of the Bands competition. Johnny Wilson moved out to the Yukon for a bit, and the other members made a new band called A Time to Rise, where Garrett exchanged his bass for a 6-string, and a new bass player joined. MA6's number one fan Jimmy came in on vocals, but this band didn't last very long either, only playing a handful of shows before the guys officially called it quits. However, Citizen's Arrest did have one final proper send-off though. A MA6 reunion show took place a few years later where the band played a handful of their old songs, putting the final nail in the coffin for MA6.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's make some noise for MA6!
Jason. How much does it take? What's your breaking point? Can you tell it's fake? The actors in the play, scripted for deception, to be read aloud. Some pay no attention, it still controls the crowd. What's that I hear? The chorus see our sins arrest. Fuck the protest inside your ass. Fuck the protest inside your ass. Break the curse. Let us know they close friends. Let's fight for see our sins arrest.
In today's world, the remnants of MA6 could have survived forever on the interweb on the likes of Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. However, music released by independent bands prior to the 2010s is scarce and is basically found in old CD collections in garages, thus making this video the only lasting source of information for MA6 and citizens' arrest. In 2018, MA6 had toyed with the idea of doing a 10-year anniversary and a re-recording of the song in acoustic form. However, that did not pan out. Maybe for the 20th or 25th anniversary, we can revisit it. Thank you for sticking around and watching this whole video. I appreciate it a whole lot. And this will be Citizens Arrest's lasting legacy. I've been AJ Angina, and thank you for watching.